Right now, something is deciding your life for you, and it probably isn't you. It's your moods, your urges, the flash of anger that fires off a message you regret, the wave of fear that talks you out of the thing you wanted, the craving that overrides every good intention the moment it appears. Most people believe they are in charge of themselves, that they are the author of their own choices. But watch yourself honestly for a single day and you'll see the truth. You are pushed and pulled all day long by impulses you did not choose and cannot seem to command. You are not steering. You are being steered from the inside by a crowd of drives, and you call the result your will. Friedrich Nietzsche understood this more deeply than almost anyone. He looked at the human being and saw not a single unified self calmly making decisions, but a chaos of competing drives, appetites, and impulses, each one wanting something, each one pulling in its own direction. And he saw that most people never master this inner chaos. They are simply ruled by whichever drive happens to be strongest in the moment. Their anger rules them, then their fear rules them, then their desire rules them, and they mistake this constant being ruled for freedom. But Nietzsche also saw the rare alternative. The person who has done the hard work of mastering their own inner world, of organizing the chaos of their drives under the command of a strong, unified will. And that person, he understood, becomes something almost no one becomes genuinely free, genuinely their own, and genuinely impossible to control. Because here is the thing that connects everything. Whoever masters your will controls you. And if you have not mastered your own will, then it is up for grabs. It can be seized by your impulses, yes, but it can also be seized by other people who learn to pull your drives like levers. The person whose anger rules them can be controlled by anyone who knows how to provoke that anger. The person ruled by fear can be controlled by anyone who knows how to frighten them. The person ruled by the need for approval can be controlled by anyone who dangles it. Every unmastered drive is a handle by which you can be moved. And so, the mastery of your own will is not just a path to self-command. It is the only real defense against being controlled by everyone and everything around you. Today, I'm going to walk you through Nietzsche's philosophy of the will, what it actually means to master yourself, why an unmastered will makes you a puppet of both your impulses and other people, and how to forge the kind of inner sovereignty that no one can seize. This will demand something of you, because self-mastery is the hardest work there is. But on the other side of it is the thing every person secretly wants, to finally be the one holding your own reins. If you're ready to master your will and become uncontrollable, type "I hold my own reins" in the comments. Let's begin. Let's start with the picture of the self that Nietzsche saw, because it changes everything, and most people have never considered it. You are not one thing. Inside you is a multitude, a whole society of drives, each with its own agenda. There is a drive toward comfort and a drive toward achievement, and they want opposite things. There is a drive toward connection and a drive toward independence, and they pull against each other. There is anger, and there is caution, appetite and restraint, the craving for the moment and the vision for the future, and all of them, constantly, are competing for control of your behavior. What you experience as deciding is often just the strongest drive winning the internal battle and seizing the controls for a while until another drive grows stronger and seizes them in turn. You have your way, I have my way. As for the right way, the correct way, and the only way, it does not exist. Nietzsche wanted you to see that there is no pre-given right way for your inner life to organize itself, that the ordering of your own soul is a task, something you must actively do, not something that comes for free. Most people never do it. They let the drive sort themselves out through raw competition, whichever impulse is loudest winning the moment, and they live their whole lives as a kind of battleground with no ruler, no unifying will, no one in command. Their self is just the shifting outcome of an unending war between their impulses. And a self like that leaderless, chaotic, ruled by whichever drive is strongest, is not free. It is at the mercy of its own inner weather, and at the mercy of anyone who learns to change that weather from outside. So what does it mean to master your will? It does not mean killing your drives, silencing your passions, becoming some cold, empty, desireless thing. Nietzsche despised that ideal. He thought a person without strong drives was not virtuous, but simply weak, a diminished creature with nothing powerful to master. Mastery is not the absence of powerful drives. It is the organization of powerful drives under command. It is taking the chaotic multitude within you and forging it into a hierarchy with your conscious, chosen will at the top and the drives arranged beneath it, serving it, channeled toward your purposes rather than running wild. The masterful person is not the one with no passions. It is the one with great passions held firmly in hand. He who cannot obey himself will be commanded. That is the nature of living creatures. This is the law at the center of everything. If you cannot obey yourself, if you cannot issue a command to your own drives and have them follow, then you will be commanded either by your own strongest impulses or by other people who learn to work those impulses. There is no third option, where you simply float free, uncommanded by anything. You are either the commander of your own inner world or you are commanded by it. And most people, having never learned to obey themselves, spend their whole lives being commanded by their moods, their cravings, their fears, and by everyone clever enough to pull those internal strings. To master your will is to become the one who commands, rather than the one who is commanded. It is to move from subject to sovereign in the kingdom of your own soul. Now let's make this concrete, because this is where it becomes real. End quote. Think about the last time you did something you didn't want to do. Not something forced on you from outside, but something you did because an impulse overrode your better judgment. You knew you shouldn't send the angry message, but the anger was strong, and you sent it. You knew you wanted to keep your commitment, but the pull of comfort was stronger, and you broke it. You knew what you truly wanted, but a momentary craving or fear seized the controls and drove you somewhere else. In each case, something inside you overpowered your chosen will. A drive commanded you, and you obeyed. That is what it looks like to have an unmastered will to be, in the moments that matter most, not the master of your own house, but its servant. And here is the part that should genuinely alarm you. Other people can see your unmastered drives and they can use them. This is the mechanism of nearly all manipulation. The manipulator doesn't control you directly, they can't. What they do is locate a drive you haven't mastered and pull it. They provoke the anger you can't control, and now your anger is doing their bidding. They trigger the fear you're ruled by, and now your fear serves their purpose. They flatter the vanity you've never mastered, dangle the approval you crave, exploit the greed or the insecurity or the impatience you've left running wild inside you. Every unmastered drive is a lever sticking out of you, and anyone who finds it can pull it. You think you're acting freely, but you're being played like an instrument, and the notes they're playing are your own ungoverned impulses. The individual has always had to struggle to keep from being overwhelmed by the tribe. Nietzsche understood that the pressure to be controlled comes constantly from outside, from the tribe, the crowd, the people who would rather you be a manageable, predictable, movable piece than a sovereign individual. And the only defense is internal. You cannot stop others from trying to pull your levers. What you can do is remove the levers by mastering the drives, so that there is no longer an ungoverned impulse for anyone to seize. The person who has mastered their anger cannot be controlled through provocation. The person who has mastered their fear cannot be controlled through intimidation. The person who has mastered their need for approval cannot be controlled by granting or withholding it. Master the drive, and you pull the lever out of the reach of everyone who would use it. Self-mastery is not just inner peace, it is armor. Let me be clear about what this mastery requires, because Nietzsche was honest that it is difficult, and I won't pretend otherwise. Mastering your will is the hardest work a human being can undertake, precisely because the thing you're trying to master is yourself, and you are a formidable opponent. Your drives are ancient, powerful, and cunning. They will not surrender command easily. They will rationalize. They will wait for moments of weakness. They will disguise themselves as your true will so that obeying them feels like freedom. The craving will tell you that indulging it is what you really want. The anger will tell you that acting on it is justice. The fear will dress itself up as prudence. Mastering your will means seeing through these disguises again and again, and refusing to let the drive command you even when it has made a compelling case for why it should. That which does not kill me makes me stronger. This is the principle of how the mastery is actually built, because it is built the same way all strength is built through resistance overcome. Every time you feel a drive seize for control and you refuse it, every time you feel the anger and don't obey it, feel the craving and don't follow it, feel the fear and act. Any way you strengthen your will and weaken the drive's command over you, it's resistance training for the soul. The drive pushes, you push back, and in pushing back, you grow stronger. Do this enough times, in enough situations, and the balance of power inside you shifts. What once commanded you now serves you. What once overwhelmed, your will now bends to it. The very difficulty of resisting the drive is what forges the strength to master it. There is no mastery without the struggle, because the struggle is how the mastery is made. Now I want to address something important, because the mastery of will can be misunderstood as a kind of grim, joyless self-suppression, and that is the opposite of what Nietzsche meant. He was not describing a person clenched tight against their own nature, white-knuckling their way through life, at war with themselves. That's not mastery, that's just a different drive. The drive to suppress, winning the internal battle through brute force. True mastery is something more elegant. It's the organization of your drives into a harmony where they work together under your command, channeled rather than crushed. The masterful person doesn't destroy their anger, they command it, so that its energy serves their purposes when purpose calls for force. They don't kill their desires, they direct them, aiming their power at what they've chosen rather than being scattered by every passing craving. Mastery is not a cage. It's a conductor bringing an orchestra of powerful instruments into a single, commanded piece of music. One must still have chaos in oneself to be able to give birth to a dancing star. This is the balance Nietzsche wanted you to strike. You need the chaos, the powerful drives, the strong passions, the raw energy of a person who wants things intensely. A person without that chaos has nothing to master and nothing to create from. But the chaos alone, ungoverned, produces only a mess, a life scattered across every impulse, ruled by whatever's loudest, going nowhere. The dancing star, the achievement, the created self, the sovereign life is born when that chaos is mastered, when the powerful drives are brought under the command of a unifying will and directed towards something. Keep your chaos, keep your fire, your intensity, your powerful drives, but master them. Command them, aim them. That is where greatness comes from, not from having no chaos, and not from being ruled by it, but from mastering it. So how do you actually do this? How do you move from being commanded by your drives to commanding them? Nietzsche's philosophy points toward a real path, and I'll give it to you as clearly as I can, because understanding the problem is not the same as forging the solution. The first practice is to create a gap between impulse and action, to stop being someone who acts the instant a drive fires. This is the foundational skill, because in that gap lives all your freedom. Right now, for most people, impulse and action are fused. The anger arises and the message is sent. The craving arises and the indulgence follows, with no space in between where a choice could be made. The work is to insert a pause. When you feel a drive seize for control, stop. Feel it fully, but do not immediately obey. Let a moment pass. In that moment, your conscious will has a chance to assess, to choose, to command, rather than simply being swept along by the impulse. This single skill, the pause between impulse and action, is the beginning of all self-mastery, because it's the moment where you take back the controls from the drive that wants to seize them. The second practice is to identify which drives currently rule you, to know your own levers before someone else finds them. Most people are controlled by their unmastered drives without even knowing which ones they are. So study yourself. Watch, honestly, for the patterns. Which impulse most often overrides your better judgment? Is it anger that hijacks you into saying things you regret? Is it fear that talks you out of what you want? Is it the craving for comfort, the need for approval, the impatience, the pride? Find the specific drives that most often command you, because those are your levers, the handles by which both your impulses and other people control you. You cannot master a drive you haven't identified, and you cannot defend a lever you don't know is there. So map your own inner world. Name the drives that rule you. That knowledge is the beginning of taking their power back. Become who you are. Notice that mastering your will is not about becoming someone else. It's about becoming who you truly are, beneath the tyranny of your ungoverned impulses. The drives that rule you are not your true self. They're a chaos you were born into, an inheritance you never chose. Your true self is the sovereign will that can rise above that chaos and command it, the self that chooses, according to its own values, rather than being jerked around by whatever impulse is strongest. Every drive you master frees a little more of your authentic self from the rule of your impulses. To become who you are is to become the master of your own inner world, the commander of your own drives, the author of your own actions, rather than their spectator. The mastery of will is not self-denial, it's self-becoming. The third practice is to strengthen your will deliberately through voluntary difficulty. Will, like a muscle, grows through use and resistance, so use it. Deliberately practice commanding yourself in small things. Do the hard task you'd rather avoid. Keep the small promise you made to yourself. Resist the minor craving. Follow through on the small commitment when the impulse to abandon it arises. Each act of self-command, however small, strengthens the will. And crucially, the strength transfers. The person who has trained their will by mastering small drives has a strong will available when a large drive tries to seize control. Don't wait for the big test to try to command yourself for the first time. Build the strength daily in small things so that when a powerful drive or a skilled manipulator tries to pull your levers, you have the forged will to hold your own reins. The fourth practice is to organize your drives under a governing purpose, to give your will something to command times toward. A will with no direction is just resistance. A will with a purpose is a force. When you have a clear, chosen aim, a value you're living for, a self you're becoming, a purpose that matters to you, then your drives have something to be organized around. The purpose becomes the conductor's score, and the drives become the orchestra playing it. Anger, desire, ambition, energy, all of it can be channeled toward the purpose rather than scattered across every passing impulse. Without a governing purpose, mastering your drives is just suppression. With one, it becomes direction, the gathering of all your powerful energies, and aiming them, under command, at something you've chosen. Find your purpose, and your will has something worthy to command toward. He who has a why to live can bear almost any how. A strong enough why is what makes the mastery bearable and even meaningful. The person mastering their drives for no reason is just fighting themselves. But the person mastering their drives in service of a purpose they care about is forging themselves into an instrument of that purpose, and that gives the whole difficult work a meaning that makes it possible to sustain. When you have a why, the struggle to command your impulses stops feeling like pointless self-denial and starts feeling like what it is, the shaping of yourself into someone capable of achieving what matters to you. The why turns the hard work of self-mastery from a grim battle into a meaningful forging. Find your why, and you'll find the strength to master the how. Here is what Nietzsche ultimately understood, and what I want you to carry out of all of this. The freedom everyone talks about, the freedom to do what you want, is not the real freedom, because if you have not mastered your will, then what you want is just whatever your strongest drive wants in the moment, and you are its servant, not its master. Real freedom is deeper. It is the freedom of a person who has mastered their own inner world, who is not ruled by their impulses, not jerked around by their moods, not controllable through their ungoverned drives. It is the freedom of the sovereign self, the one who holds their own reins, who commands rather than being commanded, who has done the hard work of organizing the chaos within into a will that is genuinely their own. And that freedom is also the only real protection against being controlled by others. Because as long as you have unmastered drives, you have levers. And as long as you have levers, you can be moved by manipulators, by crowds, by anyone who learns which impulse to pull. But the person who has mastered their will has pulled the levers out of everyone's reach. There is no ungoverned anger to provoke, no ungoverned fear to exploit, no ungoverned craving or vanity or need to work. They have become, in the deepest sense, uncontrollable, not because they've built walls against the world, but because they've mastered the inner drives through which control always enters. You cannot be puppeted by your impulses if you command your impulses. You cannot be manipulated through your drives if your drives obey you. Master your will, and you master the one thing through which everything else was controlling you. This is why Nietzsche placed self-mastery at the very center of a great human life. Not mastery over others that's fragile, external, and ultimately a kind of slavery to the game of domination. But mastery over yourself, over your own drives, your own impulses, your own inner chaos, because that mastery is the root of everything else. It's the source of real freedom, real strength, real sovereignty. It's what makes you the author of your own life rather than the plaything of your impulses and the puppet of other people. And it's available to you not through a single decision, but through the daily, difficult, magnificent work of learning to obey yourself, to command your drives, to hold your own reins, until you become the master of the one kingdom that was always yours to rule, the kingdom of your own soul. So the choice before you is Nietzsche's choice. You can remain what most people remain, a self, with no ruler, commanded by whichever drive is strongest, controllable by anyone who finds your levers, mistaking your own inner chaos for freedom. Or you can undertake the hardest and most rewarding work there is, the mastery of your own will. You can learn to pause between impulse and action, to identify and master the drives that rule you, to strengthen your will through voluntary difficulty, to organize your drives under a purpose you've chosen. And in doing so, you can become the rarest and freest kind of person, the one who holds their own reins, who commands their own inner world, and whom nothing and no one can control, because they have mastered the will through which all control was always exercised. So I'll leave you with the only question that matters. Will you keep being commanded by your drives and controlled by anyone who finds your levers? Or will you master your will and become truly, finally, your own? If your answer is the second one, drop "I command myself" in the comments right now. Speak it into existence. Make that promise to yourself. Because the drives will always be there, pushing and pulling, trying to seize the controls. And the world will always be there, trying to find your levers and move you. The only question is whether you'll remain their servant or become their master. Master your will, command the chaos within, hold your own reins, become sovereign in your own soul, and you will have achieved the one thing that makes a person genuinely, unshakably free, the mastery of yourself, and with it, the end of anyone's power to control you.